All right. So I'm going to actually stop sharing my screen for a moment. And 1E, is this a good time to have us try the Slido poll?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Can you enable me to share screen?
Oh, yes. Sorry. I always forget to do that. 1 second.
Don't worry.
All right. You should be able to share now.
All right. Thank you. All right. So I would love to have a short, fun activity or just questions. So I would like you guys to go to slido.com. And this is the page where when you go to slido.com and you can either scan the barcode or you enter the code 59613 in right here. I'll give you guys a few seconds to do it. There's a barcode right here. So if you miss anything, you can just scan it or you can enter the event code. So if you guys are ready, I'm gonna run the first question. What are some reasons, so the first question is, what are some reasons that make applying for jobs in the United States a popular option for graduates, in your opinion? Your answer could be 1 word or 2 words, even a sentence. Opportunity, yeah, that is a great one. I think the main thing that most of us as international students come to the United States to choose to study abroad is the opportunities that we can gain here. Gain experience, more opportunities, more practical, highly paid. Have a network here at our time at ASU, definitely as a Sun Devil. American Dream, that's a great one. Experience, diverse culture, working experience in the US, richer experience. Flexibility. Yes, you guys have good answer, and definitely diverse culture, because like you can see, we have a large population of international students at the ASU. Knowledge, service. Thank you for your answer. I'm gonna jump right to the next question. What are some advantages to applying to jobs in your home country? So in the next slide, in this presentation is focuses on Pitchfork approach, and Brienne will introduce you guys and explain what is a Pitchfork approach. And so before we dive right in, some of you may go back to home country and apply a job in your home country after you graduate from ASU. So what are some of the advantages of doing that? Yes, definitely. You don't need a visa processing. It's kind of heavy sometimes. Richer life, understanding culture. Yes, back in your home country is your own culture and you are already familiar with it. Comfort zone, family, networking without language barrier, definitely. All right, I hear you guys and thank you for the answer. I have the last questions for you. And what might you consider applying to jobs in another country, or we refer to the third country? So a little bit of explanation is that I'm not sure whether everyone knows which country exactly you want to work in, but if you don't want to work in the United States after graduate, or you don't want to go back in your home country, and for example, you want to work in Canada. So what's the reason that make you do that? Job opportunity, sponsorship, good opportunity, adventure. I like that. Network, cross-culture experience. All right, so just to save time, I'm gonna close this up and I'll let Brianna take over again. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Wan-E. That was a fun little activity to kind of kick us off. And I loved those responses. So thanks everyone for sharing. So it probably would have been helpful for me to introduce this next couple slides first before we did that poll. But we're going to go backwards a little bit now, talking about what exactly is the Pitchfork approach to job searching. So the Pitchfork approach is a strategy that international students can use to maximize job search success. So this approach helps students to plan and prepare for different career options in the US, in their home country, and in other countries simultaneously. So as you guys can see on the screen here, we've got our lovely little Sun Devil Pitchfork there. And so it's got these 3 different prongs, right? So each one of those prongs of the pitchfork represents these different scenarios of working in the US, working in your home country, or working in some other country that's not the US or your home country. And so I think that this really helps us to visualize some different scenarios that you might consider for finding a job after graduation. And the reason that we want you to kind of think about each of these options and plan for them all at the same time is things don't always work out as we plan, right? And life is complicated and things happen, and it's always good to have, a plan A, a plan B, to really be prepared. And especially for some of the reasons that you guys already mentioned in the poll. So there are advantages and disadvantages to each of these scenarios, right? So in the US, for example, you might have some good opportunities for your career here, but you might face challenges of getting an H-1B visa or some sort of work authorization. And so if that, for whatever reason, doesn't work out for you, it's always good to have another plan. So if you have simultaneously been planning for a return to your home country, it's going to make that transition a little bit smoother for you. And hopefully you have more career opportunities available to you this way. All right. So next we're going to kind of talk about, what are some of those advantages and disadvantages to each of the locations and options. And so it's actually really awesome. You guys already brainstormed a lot of these in the poll questions. So when you're working in the United States, definitely one of the advantages to that is that there are some job opportunities. And the job opportunities could be directly related to your new ASU degree, right? So you came to study at ASU because there was some degree program here that you were really interested in. And as you know, if you want to work on OPT afterwards, you do have to find a job that's directly related to what you studied. So it gives you a good opportunity to kind of apply what you learned and to just have that, really relevant experience. Another advantage of working in the US is that if you are on an F1 student visa, you do have access to the OPT work benefit. And that really is a huge advantage. For some students who are not on an F1 visa, for example, like online students, if they want to work in the US after obtaining their degree, they don't have this OPT work benefit. And so if you are an F1 student, that definitely is a huge advantage in your favor. Of course, economic opportunity, I know that was brainstormed in the poll. Also, you've already adjusted to the culture and lifestyle. So I think this one can both be a little bit of a challenge and an opportunity because obviously it's been difficult to make a huge adjustment as an international student. You've spent a lot of time learning the culture, lifestyle, maybe language, really getting adjusted here, building a network. And so while that was difficult, also you have already made that transition which gives you, of course, an advantage when applying for jobs as well. And then one of the things which you all noted in the poll is that it can be difficult to get a job sometimes in the United States, whether that's because of issues with a visa, sponsorship, or also just that the job market is really competitive. Those are all some reasons that could make it difficult to get a job in the US. And I wanted to add a slide in here specifically talking about COVID and how that has, impacted the Pitchfork approach for international students. So just a little note, when we think about what's happening to different markets around the world, every country has been affected differently. And so some countries have done a really good job of responding to COVID. I know last semester we had an info session with a company from Taiwan, and a student asked them, are your workers actually going into the office every day? They were really surprised, right? Because in the US, that's not how things are. And the representative said, yeah, in Taiwan, we've actually done a really good job of controlling COVID. And so everybody's going to work. It's not really impacting our daily life here. And I thought that was a really interesting example of, how different markets around the world have been affected differently. So here in the US, obviously we've been hit pretty hard, and it has had an impact on hiring. So we know that hiring is slow right now compared to what it usually is. And this can be especially challenging for international students. In times of crisis, some companies may feel proud to hire more domestic workers. So it can just actually be more challenging for international students than it is for Americans. And it's, really challenging for everyone all around. So one thing that's important to note about COVID in the US context is that each industry has also been affected differently. So I wanted to show you a quick slide. This is some data that I was able to pull from Handshake. So those of you who maybe are familiar with Handshake, this is where we post jobs and internships for ASU students and alumni. So it's an online platform where we post thousands of job opportunities. And one of the really cool things on Handshake is that we have a filter for work authorization. So what you see on the screen here represents jobs that were available for OPT and CPT only. So these are jobs specifically for international students. And you can kind of see some of the different fields, what's more popular being posted on Handshake. So anything that's in red or this darker orange color, that's where there are more opportunities available. And similarly, you'll see in the industries over here on the right-hand side of the page. So things like internet and software, electronics, computer science, all of those are fields where there's still a lot of hiring happening for international applicants. And then as we get down towards the bottom of the list, these are some areas where we're seeing less job opportunities for international applicants. So I feel like this slide just gives you kind of an idea of like where those jobs exist currently in this COVID market. All right, so next we're going to talk about home country. So you guys hit most of these actually in the poll, but if you're looking at jobs in your home country, a really great advantage that you have is that you already have that automatic work authorization. So you don't have to think about getting a work visa or, any documentation. You have the right to work in your home country. You also have language and cultural capital. So someone mentioned in the poll that you're in your comfort zone, right? You're kind of just like in your element. You know how to navigate things, you know how things work. And so that definitely gives you an advantage. I did want to add one challenge at the bottom that, especially depending on maybe how long you've been outside of your home country, how long you've been in the US, sometimes it can be difficult to re-enter your home country, culture, society, and kind of make that transition back. And also I hear from some students, it depends on what your field is at ASU, but sometimes it can also be a little bit of a challenge to figure out how to best market the degree that you've earned at ASU and make that relevant for the context of your home country. So that's one challenge that you might just be aware of. And then the third country option. So the reason that we like to really get everyone thinking about other places where they might want to live and work is because there are 193 other countries other than the US and your home country where you might consider being there, right? And so a couple of things to kind of think about when you are considering other destinations is that some countries might be more immigrant friendly. So it might be easier to get a visa or work authorization to work in that country. It may be easier for international people to get hired for jobs in that country. And depending on what the country is, you might also have some skills that are really valued there. So whether maybe you speak a language that they speak, or even based on what the top industries are in that location, you may have some technical skills or a degree that's particularly relevant for industries in that country as well. So I wanted to ask everyone to go ahead and type in the chat if you have ever considered before, or maybe this is the very first time that you're thinking about it, what is one country that you might consider moving to other than the US or your home country? So what would be a top third country destination for you? So feel free to share in the chat. Canada, wow, looks like that's popular. UK. South Korea, Hong Kong, China, Germany. France, yeah, and you can definitely have more than one too. You might have multiple different countries that you're considering. The Netherlands, oh, that's interesting. Mainland China. Singapore, nice. UAE, Dubai. Awesome. I love seeing the diversity in these responses. I think these are all definitely top destinations. Whenever I ask this question, there are always a couple of countries that get answered every time. So I thought that was really funny. We got a bunch of Canada right in the beginning, but then lots of other options as well. So maybe even seeing some of the other places that other students are considering might kind of spark you to explore them as an option for yourself as well. Thank you, everyone. So next we wanted to talk about what are some of the tools and resources that exist for you as you begin to do some of this planning, this strategizing about your own job search and thinking about the US, your home country, and another country, right? So some of our main like big resources that we're always recommending from Career and Professional Development Services, I've chosen 3 that I want us to focus on. So we're going to talk about Handshake, we're going to talk about Interstride, and then we're also going to talk about career services. And I'm going to highlight how each of these can be used for the different scenarios. So when we're talking about finding a job within the US, Handshake is a really, really good place to start. So Handshake is our ASU premier job and internship posting platform. So this is really where we're posting all of the job opportunities that we know about. And there are thousands of opportunities available on Handshake at any time. So earlier this week, I was on Handshake with a student, and currently we have over 10,000 job postings up on Handshake. So that number fluctuates a little bit all the time, but right now it's more than 10,000. And also about 2,500 of those are CPT, OPT opportunities. So lots and lots of opportunities if you are looking to find something in the US. Another really cool thing about Handshake, like I mentioned, is that there is that work authorization filter that allows you to specifically find those jobs that accept OPT and CPT. So that's really helpful for international students. If any of you have tried to find jobs on other sites before, maybe like LinkedIn or Indeed, they don't have a filter like that specifically for international students. So sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to figure out which ones are, accepting OPT. So that's one really cool thing about Handshake. Then another resource that we have is called Interstride. So Interstride is really great. It's actually a platform that was created by international students for other international students in the US. And one of the features of Interstride is they have a whole section called US Visa Insights. And by the way, this is a platform that all ASU students and alumni have access to. So Juan E and I can share the link with you so that you can get access to Interstride. You'll log in just with your ASU username and password to get access. And once you're in there, so many great career resources. Specifically for finding jobs in the US, they have a section called US Visa Insights, where you can find historical data about employers that have hired international applicants on different types of visas previously. So why that's really helpful is because identifying employers who are international friendly is a really good place for you to start in your job search. So you can actually look at OPT and see who are the top employers of OPT for 2020. And it'll show you some big companies like Amazon, Google, and if you click on them, it'll actually tell you how many people they hired on OPT. It will tell you the different types of positions that they had on OPT, what their salary was. And so that can give you an idea of whether or not you might also find a career at that same company. And you know that that company is international friendly. So I always recommend kind of using Handshake and Interstride together. So you could log on to Interstride, you could, check out those US Visa Insights, and then you could come back to Handshake to see if that company currently has any jobs posted. And I see Juan E has shared the link in the chat with us. So thank you for that. Everyone feel free to check it out. It's really awesome. They also have other career resources like webinars. And we'll actually come back to that when we talk about the third country too. And then career services. So at Career and Professional Development Services, if your main goal is to find employment in the US, all of our career specialists are trained to help you. So you can access really any of the services. They're all going to be relevant for helping you with your US job search. If you want to specifically meet with me, myself, and Juan E and Hariher, we work to advise international students specifically. And so we can definitely help kind of talking through how to find jobs and internships for OPT and CPT and other issues that you might be having, that are related to your international student status. So those are some of the career resources that are relevant for the US job search. And then next we'll talk about job searching for your home country. So again, the same three resources, but we're going to use them a little bit differently now. So now talking about Handshake, most of the opportunities that are posted on Handshake are US based. So a lot of US opportunities, but there are a handful of international job postings on Handshake too. So I always just say, check it out. We're definitely trying to grow the number of international opportunities posted on Handshake as well. So you can always take a look and see if there's anything available there. Then coming back to this resource of Interstride, So another of the functions of Interstride is that that's actually a place where you can view thousands of international job postings. So whereas Handshake is probably a better resource for finding those US-based job postings, Interstride has lots and lots of international job postings. And there's also a country insights section of Interstride, which is really cool for kind of exploring different locations as well. And then at Career Services, in addition to offering advising for international students who want to stay and work in the US, we also offer global career advising. So this is focused more on students who want to find jobs outside of the US. We offer some new drop-in advising specifically for global careers every Friday from 11 to 1. So that's definitely a good relevant resource. All right. So I actually, if we have time at the end, what I'll do is I'll quickly show you what Handshake and Interstride look like, just so that you can kind of see them. But we'll go ahead and keep moving with the slides and see how much time we have. All right, so I'll go ahead and hand it over to Juan E.
All right, so we have some exciting news here. So this one is about the summer internship at Adidas. Adidas currently has 7 open summer internship opportunities in product development, brand design, supply chain, strategy, finance, and digital. I know this opportunity mainly focuses on business field, but it's a great opportunity for you to check it out. And you can learn more and view the full postings on Handshake by searching Adidas under the job tab, and all the postings will come out. And like what Brianne said, Career Professional Development Services, we are here to help you explore and prepare for experiences you need to get to the next step. And we are really excited to announce expanded virtual drop-in career support for you guys. We will provide international student advising and global career advising. So international student advising happens on every Tuesday from 11 to 1 p.m. We will help you prepare for US jobs and internships. So if you have questions regarding CPT, OPT in terms of job searching, we are here to help you. And we talk about Pitchfork approach, the third country. And if you are interested in exploring careers outside the United States, we are here to help you. We offer global career advising on every Friday from 11 to 1 p.m. And remember, this service is provided to all ASU students. So whether you are a full-time student, you're an online student, even though you are an alumni, we are here to help you. And these are some additional career services for you from CPDS. So CPDS Career Professional Development Services, we constantly offer a series of workshops and webinars throughout the year covering a variety of career development topics. And I believe we have the next event coming up is a rapid resume review is on February 2nd from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. This is a great opportunity for you to bring your resume and get it reviewed by our expertise. So you can learn more and register on Handshake. Yeah, and we have more career events coming up. We have hiring events which cover different fields such as business, communication, healthcare, design, technology, and sustainability. And like every other event, you can check them out on Handshake and definitely register on Handshake as well. And this is the highlight. We have internship fair where we have companies coming in and they will offer internship opportunities. So if you are currently looking for internship, this is a great opportunity and definitely check that out. It will happen on February 12th from 11 to 1 p.m. And I know some of the familiar names we talk about networking in the previous workshop. So this is a great opportunity for you to get out of the comfort zone and practice your networking skill. And we have more career advising and everything. We have the virtual drop-in career advising. We understand that some devils live and study all around the world. So to accommodate this, we have this expanded virtual drop-in career advising. Everything is online. And if you have questions or you want to explore about more career, or you want to review your resume or your cover letter, you have questions about job internship search, informational interview, LinkedIn profile development if you're new to LinkedIn and you want to learn more about LinkedIn, and interviewing preparation and practice, salary negotiation, personal statement, even graduate school resources. We offer career advising for you, and also you can sign in on Handshake. And these are the online resources I want to highlight here. And I always emphasize these because these online resources are actually super helpful that you might need to take note on. Especially when we went through virtual advising. We also have a resume Dropbox. I will put the link in the chat. If you don't have time or you don't want to talk to our expertise, you can submit your resume through the resume Dropbox, and we will review it within 1 to 5 business days. And we have the interview stream, which is super helpful for you if you have internships or career fair coming out, you have interviews coming up, you want to practice, we have this service for you to practice. And there's a super helpful section where we talk about where they offer the work authorization questions to help you familiar with this topic for your interview. And we also have webinars like these going throughout the year. And we also mentioned about ASU Mentor Network as well as Handshake.
All right, thanks so much, Bon-E. And I actually see a couple of questions that are coming into the chat, which is perfect because we are now at our question and answer session. So we'll go ahead and answer some of these questions for you. I see one here. If I'm a spring 21 graduate student, will I be eligible for an internship? So when thinking about your eligibility for internships, there's kind of 2 things to think about. The first piece to think about is what type of work authorization you might need in order to get an internship. And then the second piece is actually getting the internship, right? So if you're wondering about your eligibility for an internship, that sounds a little bit more like wondering about the work authorization options. So I'm actually going to recommend that you attend another session a little bit later today. We have one about navigating CPT and OPT work authorization. So a representative from the ISSC will talk a little bit more about eligibility and when you become eligible for those internships. And then once you've got that work authorization piece figured out, then it's time to actually connect with the internship opportunity. All right. The next question is how to make an appointment for reviewing of resume. Great question. So we actually have multiple ways that you can get your resume reviewed. So Juan-E has shared in the chat the link for the resume Dropbox. So that's really convenient because you can upload your resume at any time to get written feedback within a couple of business days. You can also get like one-on-one feedback in an appointment. So there's 2 ways that you can have a resume review appointment. One is to log on to Handshake and go to the Career Center, which is on the right side of the Handshake page. And you'll be able to select a resume review appointment. You'll see all of the available ones there. And so you're able to choose a time that works well for you. And those are going to be 30-minute appointments if you book them on Handshake. The other thing that we have, which Juan-E mentioned, is we have a new extended virtual drop-in advising. So we are also able to review resumes as well as answer other types of questions in drop-in advising. I will stop sharing my screen and then I'm going to share some information with you in the chat about that virtual advising. So I've got here the hours that virtual advising is available throughout the week. Also, the link to join, and you can access the full list of our virtual advising hours on Handshake. Great questions. Let's see. And yes, another question about how to register for the virtual advising. So you can find each of those individual sessions on Handshake. And then you click this link during the designated drop-in time. So yes, in our virtual advising, we can really help with a lot of different career topics, which includes resume building for on-campus jobs for sure. We can help with resume review for off-campus jobs as well. We can also talk about other topics like preparing for interviews, you know, navigating your work authorization, kind of anything really related to career and professional development services we can answer in virtual drop-ins. All right, well, it's 2:55, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. We've got just a couple of minutes before the next session starts at 3 o'clock. So feel free to go ahead and check out the agenda to figure out what session you're gonna go to next. And yes, Gideon, drop-in means no appointment needed. So for those virtual drop-ins, you just click the link and pop into the Zoom room, and students are served on a first come, first served basis. So no appointment needed. All right, well, thanks everyone for attending today. I'm gonna put my email into the chat. So if you have any other questions that we weren't able to get to today, feel free to send me an email. I'll be happy to direct you, and hope to see you at a next session. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day.